All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping into the top 10, in my opinion, most underrated players in the NBA right now. We use a bunch of metrics and stats to kind of put together this list, but I am very curious to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of my list. It's in no particular order, but I do still consider it a top 10 list. I'm curious what you guys think of that list, as well as any players I might have missed or players I'm completely way off about. Let me know in the comments down below. And also, this video took a long time to put together, between the highlights, the data pulling, the screenshots, the pictures, you name it. It took a long time to edit and put together. So if you guys would like the video and hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. We're on our way to 11,000 subscribers. Cannot thank you guys enough. And you do want to support the channel, make sure to become a baller today. That is the $2.99 membership that we have on the channel, and it really does support us in making better and more content moving forward. So without further ado, let's jump into this list. The first player on our list is going to be Christian Wood. Now, Christian Wood, in terms of underrated players, I feel like he embodies this term. He played in Detroit, and now he plays in Houston, and all I have to say, based on those two teams, is poor Christian Wood. 6'10", 214 pounds. He's the modern day big. He averaged 18 points per game this year and 10 rebounds per game, while shooting 50% from the field and 39% from deep. And at 6'10", that is no easy task. In terms of players that scored 17 plus points and shot 50% and 39% and are 6'10 plus, there's two out there: Karl Anthony Towns, Kevin Durant, and the third is Christian Wood. And in terms of throwing in 10 rebounds per game as well, Christian Wood is a sole statistic holder there for a player to average 17 plus, 10 rebounds, 50% from the field, and 39% from three, and stand tall at 6'10". Christian Wood is a man amongst himself there. So Christian Wood is number one on this list in terms of underrated players in the NBA. Next up, we're moving on to Desmond Bane. Now, not much to say about Desmond Bane other than this guy is one hell of a shooter. 48.9% from deep in these playoffs. He averaged 18.8 points per game in the playoffs, and he really started to come on strong during that. He's 10th in 3 points made, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, he's a chucker. No, he's second in 3-point percentage amongst players that attempted 200 or more threes, meaning he's one of the most efficient 3-point shooters. No matter how little or how much he is shooting, he is one of the most efficient 3-point shooters in the league. 48.9% from three again in the playoffs. Yeah, that means almost 1 out of every 2 threes he took, he made. Next up, we're moving on to Robert Williams. Robert Williams, third in total block shots, 4th in blocks per game, 27th in rebounds, 6th in offensive rebounds, all while ranking 203rd in games played. Now, as a Celtics fan, I can admit his only flaw is being an injury-prone big, because he's got the 7.5-foot wingspan. You know, he's got the leaping ability. He was ranked in like the 99th percentile of explosiveness and mobility for his size and his position. Robert Williams is a modern-day big, and you do not want to bring it into the paint with him there. But let's keep him healthy. And, you know, based on that, he's still an underrated player, because Robert Williams does not get the credit he deserves. He fell in the draft, and now he's even forgotten about when you talk about big man in this league. But again, those stats I just said: 3rd in total block shots, 4th in blocks per game, 6th in offensive rebounds, and he ranked 203rd in games played. So when this guy plays, holy crap, he's a beast. Next up, we're going to Jalen Brunson here. Now, Jalen Brunson, a guy that absolutely came on strong in the playoffs, almost 22 points per game in the playoffs. The Mavs needed him. They had Luka, and then who else? Well, Jalen Brunson stepped up there. He recognized the opportunity. He averaged 17.3 field goal attempts per game in the playoffs, which sounds like, you know, maybe that's not Jalen Brunson's role, but hey, he maintained a near 50% field goal percentage. He realized when Luka wasn't playing, or Luka wasn't scoring, or he wasn't in the game, he needed to step up and score. They didn't have Porzingis anymore. They're playing playoff basketball. Jalen Brunson said, you know what? Let's do it. 11 of his 18 playoff games, Brunson scored 20 or more points here. Again, he came on strong in the playoffs, but he had a good season overall, and I only expect more and more from him moving forward. Jalen Brunson deserves to be on this list 1,000,000%. Next up is a guy that I've been a fan of for a long time. Here we have Terry Rozier of the Charlotte Hornets. This season, 19.3 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 1.5 steals per game. And you know what? That might sound like, yeah, you know, these aren't ridiculous numbers, but you put all those together and say amongst guards, what players average those stats? Again, 19.3, 4.5, 4.3, and 1.5. Well, the list is pretty damn short. It's 9 guards, including Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Stephen Curry, CJ McCollum, Fred VanVleet, and LaMelo Ball, his teammate. Terry Rozier is 9th on that list in terms of players that have achieved those stats throughout the year. So let's not forget Terry Rozier on this list. He's absolutely underrated. Even some studs on Charlotte overshine and shadow him throughout the season, but of guards, no one else other than those 9 players or 8 other players that I mentioned do what Terry Rozier does. And I love the guy. He's a grinder, he's a dirt dog, but he could score the rock as well. Terry Rozier is on this list. We're keeping it in the guard category here. Tyrese Maxey, 17.5 points per game this year, stepped it up in the playoffs, 20.5 points per game, kept that starting job, ran with it, and he has that go-off ability even on a team where there's a bunch of shooters. Joel Embiid, you know, Tobias Harris, James Harden. Tyrese Maxey says, you know what, some nights it's gonna be me. In both playoff series that he had this season, he had at least one 34+ point outing. I believe he had against Toronto, he had a 38-point outing, and then 34-point outing against the Heat. And in fact, looking at his game log throughout the entire season, there's only a couple of months in which Tyrese Maxey didn't have one 30+ point night throughout a month. So Tyrese Maxey is an absolute bucket. Young player. He might not be underrated for long, but he sure as hell is as of right now. Next up is one of my favorite names on this list. We're going to Milwaukee. We're looking at Bobby Portis. Now, Bobby Portis, his stats wouldn't necessarily jump out at you and say, oh my God, this guy's an absolute superstar. 14.6 points per game, 9.1 rebounds per game. He averaged a double-double in the playoffs though, but he's one of 2 players to grab 650 plus rebounds, shoot 39% plus from 3 and 75% from the free throw line, and he's 89th in minutes, but 14th in total rebounds. And if you look at some of the guys that he's amongst in that category when looking at Bobby Portis, you're looking at guys like Joel Embiid, Karl-Anthony Towns in terms of big men that put up those types of shooting numbers. Bobby Portis for sure is underrated. He is the heartbeat of that Milwaukee team. Crowd favorite, fan favorite. He's got the crazy eyes. Bobby Portis, absolutely underrated in my opinion here. 8th, we got Jordan Poole, who a lot of people seem to slight and say, you know what, he only had these stats this season because Steph was out for a long period of time. Klay Thompson missed a bunch of the season. Well, 18.5 points per game this season, and again, you could say that's because of Steph, that's because of Klay, but when you look at the playoffs, both these guys are healthy. Steph and Klay still averaging 17.8 points per game in the playoffs. And in terms of trying to defend that this guy is a bucket, I think one statistic shines through here. In terms of the second half of the season, he ranked 15th in the entire league for the most points per 36 minutes in that second half of the year past the All-Star break. And we'll pop a graphic up on the screen right now. Looking at the guys that are ahead of him, you're like, yeah, what good company to keep. Now, 9th and 10th on this list here, I'm going to put them together because it's 2 guys from the same team. Jared Allen and Darius Garland. Jared Allen, top 10 in these following categories: rebounds per game, offensive rebounds per game. He's top 20 in blocks per game and number of double-doubles this season. Both of these guys absolutely contributed to making a crappy Cavs team a playoff contending and play-in tournament-esque team. Now, obviously, they didn't advance, but they did make it there, and they did open a lot of eyes. Jared Allen, Darius Garland are 2 absolute huge components to that. Now, I know they had Colin Sexton in the beginning of the year, Ricky Rubio as well, you know, Evan Mobley, but these 2 are sort of the figureheads of the table, in my opinion, in terms of this Cavs success. Darius Garland, 22 points per game, 9 assists per game, and he led that Cavs team again to that play-in tournament when he dropped 34 points in the first game and then 21 in the second, meaning he averaged 27.5. That is all I got for you guys today. Again, let me know if I missed any players. I'm sure I did. We all have our preferences. We all have our favorite underrated players. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed anyone. And please let me know if you want us to continue doing videos like this, or maybe make a top 10, top 5 list of specific categories. Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.